The wrench slipped from his oil-slicked fingers, clattering against the concrete floor like a gunshot in the empty garage, as the dashboard panel gave way to reveal a crumpled envelope sealed with yellowed tape. His father's handwriting scrawled across it in faded blue ink. "For Alex, when you're ready to drive into the storm." Alex's breath caught, a sob ripping from his throat before he could stifle it. The kind of sound that echoes in the hollows of a man's chest after burying his only anchor in life. And there, in the dim flicker of the shop light, Ronald's calloused hand brushed his. Not by accident, but with the weight of a confession neither had dared voice since the day Alex first rolled that battered Ford into the bay. Alex Harlan stared at the keys dangling from his mother's trembling fingers, the metal glinting like a cruel joke under the fluorescent bulbs of the funeral home parlor. It was a Tuesday in late September, the air thick with the scent of wilted lilies and stale coffee, and the small town of Elmwood, Nebraska, population 2,847, give or take a soul, felt smaller than ever, pressing in on him like the walls of a coffin. His father, Jack Harlan, had gone quick. A heart attack behind the wheel of that damn red 78 F-150, the truck crumpling against an oak on County Road 12 like it was tired of hauling hay and regrets. 48 years old. Too young for the dirt, too old for the bullshit he'd left behind. "Take it, Alex," his mother whispered, her voice cracking like dry earth after a drought. Margaret Harlan was a wisp of a woman, her floral dress hanging loose on shoulders that had carried too much for too long. "Your dad. He wanted you to have it. Said it was yours when he was gone." She pressed the keys into his palm, her eyes red-rimmed but dry. No tears left after 3 days of condolences from neighbors who barely knew Jack beyond his Sunday sermons at the Methodist church. Alex nodded, the weight of the ring jangling against his skin feeling like shackles. He was 24, fresh out of community college with a half-assed associate's in auto tech that he'd never used, working odd jobs at the feed store to keep the lights on. Gay in a town where queer was still a slur whispered behind cupped hands, and out only to the mirror in his cramped apartment above the laundromat. Jack had known or suspected. The arguments had started 2 years back. Sharp words over dinner about finding a nice girl and settling down, Jack's Bible thumping the table like a gavel. But they'd never crossed that final line, never said the words that might shatter what little family they had left. "Thanks, Mom," Alex muttered, pocketing the keys. The truck sat outside in the lot, a rust-eaten beast with faded stripes and a bumper sticker reading, "God bless this mess." It roared to life when he turned the ignition that afternoon, the engine coughing like an old smoker, but it ran. And as he drove the 20 miles back to Elmwood, windows down to let the harvest wind whip through his dark curls, something loosened in his chest, a grief-tinged freedom, maybe, or just the delusion of a man who'd lost his compass. The next morning, the truck wouldn't start. Click, grind, nothing. Alex cursed under his breath. Hood up in the driveway of his mom's bungalow, sweat beading on his forehead despite the chill. Wires frayed, battery corroded, classic Harlan luck. He needed a real mechanic, not his half-baked fixes. That's when he remembered Ronnie's garage on the edge of town, a squat cinderblock building with a neon sign that buzzed like a hive even in winter. Ronnie, Caldwell had been fixing Elmwood's rides since Alex was in diapers, a fixture as permanent as the grain elevator. Ronnie was in his early 30s now, broad-shouldered and quiet, with a jaw like carved granite and eyes the color of storm clouds, blue-gray, piercing. Alex had always steered clear, not because of the work, But because of the way Ronnie's gaze lingered a beat too long at the county fair last summer, handing over a funnel cake with fingers that brushed Alex's like static electricity. He trailered the truck to Ronnie's that afternoon, the bed of his borrowed Chevy groaning under the weight. The garage smelled of motor oil and burnt rubber, classic rock humming low from a transistor radio, Springsteen crooning about highways and broken dreams. Ronnie was under a Chevy Impala, legs sticking out like a mechanic's prayer, grease up to his elbows. He slid out when Alex cleared his throat, wiping his hands on a rag that was more filth than cloth. "Harlan," Ronnie said, voice gravelly from cigarettes he swore he'd quit. He stood, all 6'2" of him unfolding like a switchblade, flannel shirt rolled to show forearms corded with muscle. "Heard about your dad." "Sorry, man." Alex shrugged, throat tight. "Yeah. Thanks. It's the F-150. Won't turn over." Ronnie nodded, no pity in his eyes, just that steady assessment, like he was diagnosing more than an engine. "Wheel it in." "I'll take a look." They worked in silence at first, Alex handing tools while Ronnie probed the underbelly of the truck. The bay was a sanctuary of sorts. Tools hung neat on pegboards, calendars from oil companies yellowing on the walls. Elmwood's secrets hid in places like this. Affairs confessed over carburetors, alibis forged with socket wrenches. Alex caught himself watching Ronnie's hands, the way they moved with sure grace, calluses mapping stories Alex could only guess at. Ronnie was divorced. Rumor had it, ex-wife named Carla who'd run off to Omaha with a realtor. No kids. Lived alone in the apartment above the shop. Gay? The town whispered it after too many beers at the VFW. But whispers were wind here. "She's a beauty," Ronnie said finally, slamming the hood. "Your old man's pride and joy. Batteries shot, alternators on its last legs. But I can fix her up good as new. Couple days." "How much?" Alex asked, bracing for the hit. Ronnie waved it off. "For Jack? On the house. He kept this place running back in '08 when the recession hit." "Least I can do." Alex blinked, gratitude warring with suspicion. "You sure?" "Sure as shit," Ronnie grinned, teeth white against the stubble. It was the first real smile Alex had seen since the funeral, and it hit like whiskey, warm, disarming. "Come by tomorrow. I'll show you what I mean." That night, Alex lay in his boyhood bed, the house creaking under autumn winds. His phone buzzed with a text from his one semi-out friend in Lincoln, heard about the truck. Road trip soon. But he ignored it, mind drifting to Ronnie's grin, the brush of knuckles as they passed a spark plug. It was dangerous territory, this pull. Elmwood didn't forgive deviations. Last year, Tommy Reese had been run out for kissing a boy at the rodeo. But grief was a strange beast, stripping filters, bearing bones. The next day dawned crisp, leaves skittering like confetti across Main Street. Alex showed up at the garage mid-morning, coffee in hand, black, 2 sugars, the way he'd seen Ronnie take it at the diner once. Ronnie was elbow-deep in the dash, radio now playing Dylan, that nasal twang about tangled wires mirroring Alex's gut. "Mornin'," Alex said, holding out the cup. "Figured you could use this." Ronnie straightened, surprise flickering before he took it, fingers lingering. "Appreciate it." Digging into the electrics. "Your dad modded this thing half to hell, hidden compartments everywhere." Smuggler's delight. They talked then, easy at first, football scores, The drought's toll on corn yields. Jack's legendary temper over a missed free throw. Ronnie shared stories of apprenticing under Old Man Wilkins, how Jack had towed his first beater car home at 16. Laughter came, tentative, thawing the chill. But as Ronnie pried at a stubborn panel behind the glove box, the air shifted. A click, a scrape, and there it was, the envelope tumbling out, landing at Alex's boots like a grenade. "What the hell?" Ronnie muttered, picking it up gingerly. The paper was brittle, sealed with tape that had long lost its stick. Jack's script, "Alex, read this when the road calls. Love, Dad." Alex's heart hammered. "Open it." Ronnie hesitated, eyes searching Alex's face. "You sure? Looks personal." "Do it." The envelope tore with a whisper, revealing a single sheet, folded thrice. Ronnie unfolded it, voice steady as he read aloud. "Son, if you're reading this, I'm gone. This truck's carried me through wars I never fought. Vietnam draft dodger. Remember? But it's yours now. There's a storm coming for you, Alex. Bigger than any twister we've seen. You'll meet a man who fixes what's broken but breaks what's mended. Trust your heart, even when it leads to thunder. The keys under the seat, don't look till you're ready. Forgive me for the silences. I love you, always. Dad." Silence crashed in after, heavy as the truck's V8. Alex's vision blurred, not from tears but the impossibility, a message from beyond, cryptic as a fortune cookie from hell. Ronnie's hand found his shoulder, grip firm, grounding. Jesus. He knew. Knew what? Alex whispered, voice raw. Ronnie's thumb brushed his collarbone, accidental or not. Whatever storms brewed, they didn't speak of it then. But as Alex left with the truck purring smooth, the note burned in his pocket. That night, alone, he slid under the seat. There, a small brass key, etched with coordinates, 41.2989 degrees north, 95.9980 degrees west. Omaha. Heart of the plains, city of secrets. The pull was magnetic. Alex drove west the next dawn, the truck eating miles like penance, radio scanning for signals that might explain the ache blooming in his chest. Omaha sprawled before him by noon, steel and glass rising from the Missouri's muddy banks, a world away from Elmwood's cornfields. The coordinates led to a nondescript warehouse district, a bar called the Anchor tucked between loading docks. Divey, with neon fish flickering in the window, it screamed anonymity. Inside, it was dim, smoky despite the bands, pool cues cracking like bones. Alex nursed a bud, the note's words looping, a man who fixes what's broken but breaks what's mended. He scanned faces, roughnecks, suits shedding ties, a cluster of men at the bar whose touches lingered too long. Then, eyes met his across the room, Edward Voss, leaning against the jukebox, all sharp angles and shadowed charm. Mid-30s, suit rumpled like he'd slept in it, blonde hair swept back, green eyes that pinned Alex like a specimen. "You look lost," Edward said, sliding onto the stool beside him, voice smooth as bourbon. Cologne, sandalwood, and smoke cut the beer's hop. "Just passing through," Alex lied, pulse racing. Edward bought the next round, talk flowing easy, city life versus small-town traps, dreams deferred. Edward was a lawyer, corporate shark for agribusiness giants, in Omaha on a case. Divorced, no. Never married. The flirtation built subtle. Edward's knee brushing Alex's under the bar. A laugh that vibrated low. By last call, they were in Edward's hotel room at the Hilton, the Missouri glittering below like fool's gold. Clothes shed in a frenzy. Bodies colliding with the desperation of men starved for touch. Edward was all hunger and skill, hands mapping Alex's skin like territory to claim. Whispers of God, you're beautiful against his neck. It was fire raw, consuming, but in the afterglow, as Edward dozed, Alex stared at the ceiling, the notes warning a ghost in the sheets. Thunder. Back in Elmwood a week later, the truck ran like a dream, but Alex was unraveling. Texts from Edward lit his phone. Missed that Nebraska grit already. Weekend in the city? Ronnie noticed the change at the garage. Oil change turning into coffee runs. You good? He'd ask, eyes probing. Yeah, Alex lied, but the lie tasted like ash. One evening, as rain lashed the bay, Ronnie cornered him. That note, it's got you twisted. Alex deflated, handing it over. Ronnie read, jaw tightening. Omaha. Huh? Storm's names start with E. Laughter bubbled. Bitter. Edward. Met him there. Nothing. Ronnie's hand cupped his jaw, thumb tracing stubble. Liar. But if it's thunder, let me be the lightning. The kiss was inevitable, born of grief and gasoline fumes. Fierce, tasting of want and warning. Ronnie's body was solid earth against Alex's storm, arms like anchors. They broke apart gasping, foreheads pressed. I've wanted this since you were 18, Ronnie confessed, voice wrecked. Watched you grow into. You. Me too, Alex breathed, fear and fire twisting. But the phone buzzed. Edward, coming to Elmwood. Need to see you. The storm gathered. Edward arrived on a Friday, rolling into Elmwood in a gleaming black Audi that turned heads on Main Street like a spaceship in a corn maze. Alex spotted him from the feed store window, heart-slamming ribs as Edward stepped out, suit traded for jeans and a Henley that hugged his lean frame. Sunglasses perched on his head. He scanned the street with that lawyer's precision until his gaze locked on Alex through the glass. A grin split his face, charming, predatory, and Alex felt exposed, like the note had summoned him straight from the shadows. They met at the diner, formica tables sticky with syrup ghosts, waitresses calling orders in drawls thick as gravy. Edward slid into the booth, knee nudging Alex's under the table, casual as sin. Missed you, he said, voice low, fingers tracing Alex's wrist where the sleeve rode up. This town's a postcard from hell, charming in a serial killer way. Alex forced a laugh. Menu a shield. It's home. What brings you? You. Simple. Delivered with that green-eyed intensity. Edward leaned in, breath warm. That night. It wasn't a one-off. I want more. Weekends in Omaha, my place overlooking the river. No strings, just fire. The words hooked deep, promising escape from Elmwood's judgmental stares, from the closet's creak. But Ronnie's kiss lingered on Alex's lips, a counterpoint grounded, real. I don't know, Alex hedged, fork-spearing pie he didn't taste. Complications. Edward's hand covered his, thumb stroking knuckles. Life's complications, Alex. But this? It's the spark in the dark. They ended up at Alex's apartment that night. The laundromat hummed below, a ironic soundtrack to moans muffled by threadbare pillows. Edward was poetry in motion, elegant thrusts, nips at collarbones, praises murmured like closing arguments. "You're mine," he growled at climax, and Alex shattered, guilt and ecstasy a toxic brew. After, tangled in sheets, Edward traced the truck keys on the nightstand. "Your chariot. Tell me about the note." Alex hesitated, then spilled it, the inheritance, the hidden words, the coordinates that led here. Edward listened, eyes sharpening. "Your dad was a prophet." "Storms me." "Huh? I like it." He kissed Alex's temple. Possessive. "We'll weather it together." Saturday blurred into drives. Edward behind the wheel of the F-150, radio blasting cash as they chased sunsets over Platte River bluffs. Picnics on checkered blankets. Hands laced. Stories swapped. Edward's cutthroat climbs in Lincoln firms. Alex's dreams of wrenching full-time, maybe opening a shop. Felt like a movie. All golden hour and stolen kisses. Elmwood fading to backdrop. But Ronnie texted mid-afternoon. "Truck needs a tune." "Stop by?" Alex ignored it. Phone silenced, but the buzz echoed in his veins. Ronnie was waiting when they pulled up to the garage at dusk. Bay door half open, light spilling like accusation. He wiped hands on his rag, gaze flicking from Alex's flushed cheeks to Edward's sleek confidence. "Harlan." "Who's the city slicker?" "Edward Voss." Edward extended a hand, grip firm. "Alex's friend. From Omaha." Ronnie's shake was iron. "Ronnie Caldwell. Fixer of fine rides." The air crackled, subtext thick as exhaust. Edward excused himself to check emails, leaving Alex alone with Ronnie in the bay. "What the fuck? Alex?" Ronnie's voice was low thunder, hurt etching lines around his eyes. "You ghost me after that?" Alex winced, stepping close. "I didn't, it's complicated." He's intense, pulls me out of this rut. Ronnie's laugh was hollow. "And I'm the rut? Small-town grease monkey holding you back." He grabbed Alex's shirt, pulling him flush. "Tell me you don't feel this." Their mouths crashed, desperate. Ronnie's stubble scraping like truth. Tongues tangled, hands fisting fabric, until Edward's cough shattered it. "Gentlemen," Edward drawled from the door, arms crossed, amusement masking steel. "Interrupting." Alex jerked back, face burning. Ronnie released him slow, eyes never leaving Alex's. "Just shop talk." Edward's smile didn't reach his eyes. "Charming place. Alex, we should head out. Dinner at that steakhouse you mentioned." The drive was silent, tension coiling. At the Outlaw Grill, over ribeyes and red wine, Edward dissected it over dessert. "Your mechanic friend's got a crush." Obvious as neon. Alex's fork clattered. "It's not. Please." Edward waved it off, but his tone sharpened. "Small towns breed that puppy love from the garage. But you deserve more. Ambition. A life beyond corn." The word stung. Ronnie reduced to caricature. That night, in Edward's rented SUV parked by the river, they fucked with an edge, Edward pinning Alex's wrists, bites marking territory. "Say you're mine," he demanded, and Alex did, voice breaking. But in the quiet after, doubt crept like fog. Sunday, Edward left with promises. "Next weekend, my bed, no distractions." Alex waved from the porch, truck idling, then drove straight to Ronnie's. The garage was dark, closed sign swinging, but the apartment light glowed above. He climbed the stairs, heart pounding, knocking soft. Ronnie opened in sweats, hair tousled, beer in hand. Knew you'd come. They didn't talk much. Ronnie pulled him inside. The space sparse. Leather couch, stacks of car and driver. A photo of young Ronnie with a golden retriever faded on the mantel. The door barely shut before hands were everywhere. Ronnie lifting Alex against it, legs wrapping, kisses bruising with need. They made it to the bed, shedding clothes in a trail, bodies slotting like puzzle pieces forged in fire. Ronnie was earth and storm, slow builds to frantic peaks, whispers of stay with me against sweat-slick skin. It was home, this vulnerable, unpolished. Morning brought coffee and confessions. Ronnie brewed strong, black, handing Alex a mug with a kiss to the temple. I ain't him. No fancy suits, no city lights. But I see you, Alex. All of you. Alex's throat tightened. I want that. But Edward. He makes me feel alive. Dangerous. Ronnie nodded, pain flickering. Storms do that. Just don't drown. The week dragged. Edward's texts a siren call, court win today. Celebrate with me? While Ronnie's were steady, tune up tomorrow. Bring lunch. Alex split himself. Lunches at the garage turning heated in the back room. Stolen blows under the hood. Evenings on calls with Edward. Voice husky with plans. The truck became confessional. Miles logged to Omaha for weekend trysts. Edward's penthouse a glass area of silk sheets and skyline views. Sex like conquest. But each return, Ronnie waited, arms open, mending the fractures with gentle hands. Then, the betrayal cracked it open. Mid-October, harvest moon fat over fields. Alex found the letter in the truck's glove box. Another from Jack. Slipped in during Ronnie's tune-up. Son, the fixer you trust might be the blade. Blood's thicker than oil. Beware the brother you never knew. Brother? Alex's world tilted. He confronted Ronnie that night. Note thrust like evidence. What the hell does this mean? Ronnie paled, sinking to the garage stool. Jack. He told me before he died. Last oil change. 2 weeks back. Coughing blood, but stubborn. Said if anything happened, watch over you. And the secret. Secret. Ronnie's eyes dropped. I'm your half-brother, Alex. Jack had an affair 72 with my mom, waitress at the Roadhouse. She died birthing me. He sent checks, kept distance. Never told you cause. Elmwood, the air sucked out. Brother. The kisses, the touches, incest shadow loomed, twisting love to taboo. Alex bolted, truck roaring into night, tears blurring taillights. Edward's line rang through, come to me. Now, Omaha welcomed with rain-slick streets, Edward's arms a harbor. Whatever it is, we'll fix it, he murmured, bodies entwining in escape. But as Alex slept, Edward scrolled his phone, a text drafting to an unknown number. Harlan's hooked. Inheritance next, trucks worth a mint restored. Leverage secured. The storm broke. November winds howled through Elmwood like accusations, stripping leaves bare and laying secrets to frost. Alex holed up in his apartment, Blinds drawn against the town's prying eyes. The truck parked crooked in the lot like a wounded animal. Ronnie's texts piled up. Talk to me. Please. It's not what you think. But Alex deleted them, each one a knife twist. Half-brother. The word poisoned everything. The garage kisses, the way Ronnie's laugh had started to feel like home. Incest, even unspoken, was a chasm no bridge could span. Jack's notes mocked from the dash, prophet or puppet master, weaving fates from beyond the grave. Edward became salvation, his Audi a chariot from the mire. Weekends stretched to weeks, Alex crashing at the penthouse, days blurring into depositions where he'd fetch coffee, nights into fevered sex that drowned the questions. Edward was a maestro, drawing out Alex's moans like verdicts. You're perfect, he'd say, fingers laced post-climax, green eyes gleaming. They explored the city, old market brunches with mimosas, walks along the Bob Carey Bridge spanning states, hands brushing rails as if borders meant nothing. This is us, Edward promised over candlelight at Upstream Brewing, steak tartare and whispers of futures. Leave the ghost town. Move here. I'll set you up, apartment, job at my firm even. Mechanic for the execs. Tempted. This vision, polished, untethered. No whispers. No blood ties twisted. Alex nodded, half convinced. The truck left behind like shed skin. But cracks spidered, Edward's late nights at the office, phone angled away, casual mentions of Jack's estate, probing for details on the F-150's provenance. Vintage value, he'd say with a wink. Could flip it for tuition or something. Ronnie haunted the edges. A package arrived midweek, tools, a shop manual inscribed for the road ahead. Forgive, R. Alex traced the script, thumb smudging ink, then binned it. Forgiveness was a luxury for the unbroken. The call came on a Tuesday, Margaret's voice quavering through static. Alex, garage says the truck's leaned. Some lawyer in Omaha Voss claims your dad owed back taxes. Collateral's the Ford. They're repossessing. World grade. Edward. On speaker in the kitchen. Feigned shock. What? That's insane. I'll handle it pro bono. Baby. But as he hung up, Alex caught the flicker. Satisfaction. Masked quick. Confrontation brewed that night. Penthouse storming with Alex's rage. You knew? The lien, it's bullshit. Dad paid everything square. Edward poured scotch. Calm as a closing. Leverage. Alex. Your brother's claiming half-blood rights. I filed to protect you. Scare him off. Leverage. Alex's voice rose. Fists clenched. You used me. The truck. The notes, all to what? Extort Ronnie? Edward stepped close. Hands rising placating. No. To free you. From him. That taboo mess? I saw it in Elmwood, the way he looks at you. Sick. I love you too much to let it fester. Love. The word landed like shrapnel. You don't know shit about love, Alex spat, grabbing his keys, truck or not. You're a shark, Edward. Always closing. He fled to the street, hailing a cab to the interstate, thumb out for a ride back to hell. The semi that stopped was heaven sent. Driver a grizzled vet sharing smokes and silence. Elmwood greeted at dawn. Skeletal trees clawing sky. The truck gone from its spot. Repossessed. Bay empty at Ronnie's. Ronnie was there anyway, sweeping the concrete. breath fogging in cold. He froze at Alex's approach, broom clattering. You came, Alex's throat bobbed. The lean. Edward, I know. Ronnie's eyes were bloodshot, defeat etched deep. Called your mom last night. Figured it out. Your boy's a con, dug into county records, fabricated debts. Trucks at impound in Lincoln. But the brother thing. I should have told you sooner. Jack made me swear. Why? Alex demanded, voice cracking. To protect what? This? He gestured between them, ghost of touches. Ronnie closed the distance, hands hovering before cupping Alex's face. Gentle, brotherly now, the shift agonizing. To protect you from pain. From me. It's wrong. What we felt. But real. Jack knew. About you. About us maybe. That's why the notes. Warning shots. Tears spilled. Hot on cold cheeks. They embraced then, not lovers, but kin fractured and forging. Ronnie's hold was lifeline, scent of oil and pine grounding. I ain't losing you, he murmured. Brother or not, the fight for the truck became crusade. Alex crashed at Ronnie's apartment, the space now sanctuary. Shared meals of burgers and beers, late nights pouring records by lamplight. Ronnie's contacts, old Wilkins still judge in Lincoln, unearthed the forgery. Edward's forged stamps, backdated filings. Sloppy, Ronnie grunted, pride flickering. City boys out of his league, but Edward struck back, venomous. Texts escalated, you'll regret this. I own you. Then voicemails, voice slurred with scotch. Come back, Alex. He's poison. Fucking his half-brother? Town'll eat you alive. Paranoia bloomed. Alex found his mailbox stuffed with photos. Grainy shots from Elmwood. Him and Ronnie in the bay. Angled damning. Blackmail. Leaked to the Methodist ladies' circle? Whispers started at the feed store. Sidelong glances. Mom's calls laced with unease. People talking. Honey. Climax shattered on Thanksgiving Eve. Alex drove to Lincoln alone. Truck reclaimed via emergency injunction. Engine roaring defiance. Edward waited at the courthouse steps, flanked by a slick associate. Rain sheeting like judgment. Alex, he called, voice honey over razor. Think this through. Drop it, and we walk away clean. I can make the rumors vanish. Alex halted, rain soaking through denim. Clean? You twisted my life for a truck? For what? Some vendetta. Edward's mask slipped. Ice feral. Not the truck. You. From the bar. I saw it vulnerable, right? But that grease monkey, clinging like rot. I was saving you. Saving. Alex laughed. Bitter. You broke me. Used Dad's ghost against me. Edward lunged, grabbing Alex's collar. Faces inches. I loved you. You ingrate. More than he ever could. Family fuck-up. The punch landed wild. Alex's fist connecting with Edward's jaw. A crack echoing off marble. Security swarmed, hauling them apart. Edward spitting blood. Eyes wild with betrayal's mirror. You'll pay, he snarled as cuffs clicked. Assault charges. Mutual. But the real wound gaped. Alex drove home through deluge. Knuckles split. Soul raw. Ronnie waited with hot cocoa and bandages. No questions. Just quiet ministration. It's over. Yeah. Alex leaned into the touch. Platonic now. healing. But the damage. Ronnie squeezed his hand. We mend. Like always. Winter gripped Elmwood. Snow blanketing sins. Edward vanished. Disbarment whispers from Lincoln. A quiet exit to Chicago. The town simmered. Rumors fading to shrugs. Margaret hosted awkward dinners, piecing family anew. Alex apprenticed at the garage full-time, hands black with purpose, dreams of his own shop blooming tentative. But the deepest scar festered in silences with Ronnie. Brothers, yes, but echoes of more lingered, a forbidden chord. One blizzard night, power out, candles guttering, they sat close on the couch, quilt shared against chill. Do you regret it? Alex whispered, firelight dancing shadows. Ronnie's arm draped his shoulders, brotherly weight. The kisses? Never. The truth? Wish it'd come cleaner. His voice thickened. Love you, Alex. Any way it fits. Tears pricked. Me too. Spring thawed the ice, but not the ache. Alex dated cautious, a barista in Grand Island, sweet but fleeting, testing waters without drowning. Ronnie watched, proud, his own life stirring, a widow from church, tentative coffees. The truck, restored pristine, became their talisman. Road trips to Lincoln fairs, blasting Willie Nelson, singing off-key to drown ghosts. Yet Jack's final note, found tucked in the visor months later, lingered. Storms pass, son. What's left is the man who stands in the rain with you. Build from there. Humanistic roots took hold. Forgiveness, not erasure. Love multifaceted. Alex stood taller, wrench in hand, heart scarred but open. Elmwood, for all its thorns, was soil. And in the garage's hum, brothers mended what lovers couldn't. The real fracture hit harder. Edward didn't fade, he festered. A month post-courthouse, package arrived at the garage, anonymous, brown wrap. Inside a USB drive, labeled Truth for Harlan. Ronnie plugged it in, face ashen as footage played, hidden cam from the bay, their kiss in grainy detail, time-stamped. Attached email, spoofed but traced to Edward's IP. Leak this, or the truck's mine. Title fraud easy. Blackmail's vice tightened. Alex's world narrowed. Panic attacks in the shower, sleep shattered by what-ifs. He wants to destroy us, Alex gasped to Ronnie one night, whiskey burning throats. Ronnie's jaw set. Not without a fight. They plotted in whispers. Counterhack via Ronnie's cousin. IT was in Omaha, legal aid from Wilkins. But the toll mounted. Mom's health dipped. Stress ulcers. Alex's hands shook on sockets. The town sensed fracture. Whispers evolving to cold shoulders at the co-op. Climax erupted on a muggy June eve. Summer solstice sun bleeding orange over silos. Edward appeared unannounced at the garage. Suit crisp. Smirk lethal. Miss me, Alex. Mid-oil change. Rose slow. Rag twisted in fists. Ronnie loomed behind. Wrench casual in hand. Get out. Edward ignored. Eyes on Alex. One signature, and it ends. Co-sign the truck to me. Vintage sale covers my losses. Or this. He waved his phone. Video thumbnail damning. Goes viral. Elmwood Pride Parade. Front page. You bastard. Alex lunged. But Ronnie held him back. Steel grip. Edward laughed. Low. Love makes monsters. Alex. You taught me that. The shove was mutual, Edward against the workbench, tools scattering like shrapnel. Ronnie's voice boomed. "Touch him again. And it's assault too." Edward straightened, bloodied lip curling. "Brothers in arms. How touching." He spat red on concrete. "Sign or sink." Alex's hand trembled on the title, pen hovering. Betrayal's weight crushed. Edward, the storm Jack warned of, devouring light. But in Ronnie's eyes, resolve mirrored. "No," the pen snapped. Edward's face twisted, rage, then shattering hurt. "You choose him? Over me. You're poison," Alex said, voice steady. "Get gone." Edward's exit was storm-slammed door. But not before the final barb. "Check the mail tomorrow. Elmwood'll know their queers." The leak hit at dawn, video emailed to the Gazette, church list, school board. By noon, hellfire, pickets at the garage, crosses burning on lawns, old habits. Mom's phone ringing off with sobs. Alex fled to the truck, keys shaking, roaring out of town as Ronnie yelled after, "Wait, we face it." He drove blind, tears highway, ending at the Platte River murmuring apathy. Phone dead, world ended. Hours later, Ronnie found him, truck idling beside, pulling him into iron embrace. "We fight. Together." The backlash peaked. Lost clients, slashed tires, Margaret hospitalized from stress. But cracks showed in armor, townies slipping casseroles, anonymous donations for Harlan's defense. Pride flickered. A vigil at the square, rainbow flags defiant against Confederate echoes. Edward's empire crumbled, disbarred, sued for defamation, fleeing to anonymity. In the rubble, bonds reforged. Alex and Ronnie, brothers beyond blood's curse, opened the shop doors wider, queer-owned, unapologetic. Love evolved, familial fierce, romantic echoes honored in silence. Jack's truck hauled their first banner, engine purring pride. Humanity's arc bent, not broken, but bowed to grace. Summer's swelter broke into autumn's mercy, Elmwood exhaling after the inferno. The video scandal had scorched like prairie fire, headlines in the Omaha World Herald, small-town blackmail. Gay brothers targeted in vicious hoax. Protests fizzling to footnotes as Edward Voss's skeletons tumbled. Embezzlement from clients. A trail of jilted lovers from Denver to Des Moines. Disbarred. Indicted. He vanished into witness protection whispers. A ghost who'd gambled on lightning and caught ash. Alex and Ronnie rebuilt from cinders. The garage, rechristened Harlan Caldwell Auto, became Bastion. Pride stickers on the window, a rainbow wrench on the logo. Clients trickled back, some sheepish with apologies wrapped in tune-ups, others bold with ally flags on tailgates. Margaret recovered slow, her bungalow now hosting potlucks where the boys were toasted with Kool-Aid and kindness. "Family's what you weld together," she'd say, patting Alex's hand. Her own note from Jack, found in her Bible, mirroring his "Protect the Heart" mags. "It's tougher than trucks." The brotherhood deepened, taboo transmuted to sacred. Mornings started with coffee on Ronnie's stoop, black brew steaming as they traded dreams. Alex's expansion plans, a custom chop shop for Harleys. Ronnie's quiet hope for a cabin up in the Sandhills, fishing poles and no cell service. Evenings wound down with beers on the couch. Springsteen low, silences comfortable as worn denim. Touches lingered, a shoulder squeeze, hair ruffled, but lines held. respects guardrail. Yet in dreams, Alex chased echoes, Edward's fire, Ronnie's earth, Jack's warnings weaving nightmare tapestries. Romance crept tentative. Alex met Caleb at the county fair, barista from Grand Island, all freckles and folk tunes, with a laugh like wind chimes. Dates unfolded gentle. Drives in the F-150 to starlit fields, hands clasped over stick shift, kisses tasting of cotton candy and caution. Caleb knew the scars. Video infamy made Alex local legend, and wore them like badges. "You're brave as hell," he'd say. Head on Alex's chest post-love. Heartbeat sinking to Dylan on vinyl. Ronnie approved, eyes twinkling over burgers. "Kid's solid. Treats you right." But envy flickered, buried quick. A brother's quiet ache for what might have been. Sans blood's curse. Edward resurfaced in fragments. A tabloid blurb, disgraced lawyer in hiding. Love or lust. A forwarded letter to the garage. Scrawled frantic, "I was wrong. The storm swallowed me. Forgive, E." Alex burned it in the shop barrel. Flames devouring ink. Ronnie's hand on his back. Let the wind take it. Climax's shadow lingered in a court date. Edward's plea bargain. Alex subpoenaed as witness. Lincoln's federal building loomed sterile. Fluorescent hum mocking the heart-pounding weight. Ronnie drove him. Truck's engine a steady growl. "You got this," he said in the lot. Fist bump solid. "Truth's your wrench." Inside, Edward looked hollowed, orange jumpsuit swallowing frame, green eyes dulled to moss. No smirk, just desperation as he took the stand, voice cracking on rehearsed remorse. "I loved him." Twisted it to control. The video. Lowest point. His gaze met Alex's across the room. Please silent. Redemption? Alex's testimony was steel. Dates. Forgeries. The blackmail's vice. He used my grief. My family. Love doesn't destroy, it builds. The gavel fell 5 years. Restitution. Edward's nod was broken gratitude. Chains clinking exit. Catharsis washed post-verdict. Ronnie treating to steaks at Runza. Fries dipped in envy-free cheer. Proud of you, bro. The word landed warm now. Reclaimed. Winter whispered change. Caleb proposed a move. Grand Island Co-op. Shared loft above a coffee roastery. Alex wavered. Truck idling at crossroads. What about the shop? You? Ronnie grinned, masking pang. Go. Live. Elmwood's roots. Not chains. They hugged fierce that night. Porch light haloing silhouettes. Words unspoken. I'll miss our thunder. Departure dawned crisp. U-Haul hitched. Caleb's hand in Alex's. Ronnie waved from the bay. Coffee raised salute. Drive safe. Coordinates for Christmas. Sandhills cabin. Miles unspooled. Nebraska's spine arching to horizons. Alex glanced back once. Elmwood shrinking to speck. Heart full aching. Edward's storm had ravaged. But in ruins. Gardens. Brotherhood unbreakable. Love's new bloom with Caleb tentative and true. Jack's final hidden compartment under the hood. Pride during farewell tune-up. Yielded a locket. Photo of young Jack. Arm round a stranger. Backs to camera on a dusty road. Note inside. Love found me late, son. But it found me. Chase yours, no regrets. Alex hung it from the mirror. Silver glinting like absolution. The road called, open and kind. Yet fate's twist waited in spring thaw. A call from Ronnie, shop's booming. Need a partner. Caleb's blessing came easy. Roots and wings. Babe. Alex returned weekends. Balancing worlds. Truck ferrying between. Edward's echo faded to footnote. A scar faded pink. In the garage's hum, Alex and Ronnie worked side by side. Laughter echoing, brothers, survivors, human in fractures forge. Romance deepened with Caleb. Proposals under harvest moons. Rings exchanged in the truck's bed. Stars witnesses. Weddings blended traditions. Methodist vows with rainbow boutonnieres. Margaret beaming front row. Humanism bloomed. Forgiveness not for Edward, but self. Love not singular, but spectrum. Elmwood evolved slow. Pride floats on July 4th. Garage sponsoring Little League with inclusive teams. Alex's shop sign read mend and drive forward. Thunder passed. Sunlight endured. Years folded like accordions. Time's bellows breathing life into Elmwood's veins. By 2030, the town had traded pitchforks for progress. Wind farms spinning on hill crests. A queer youth center in the old library, funded by grants and Harlan Caldwell donations. Alex, 30 now, balanced dual worlds. Senior wrench at the co-op in Grand Island. Weekends commandeering the garage with Ronnie. The F-150 their chariot of choice. Odometer ticking toward legend. Caleb proved anchor. Their loft a nest of exposed brick and bookshelves groaning with Kerouac and Baldwin. Marriage was mosaic. Vows renewed annually at the Platte. Picnics with violins and vows whispered over wine. Children came via surrogacy, twin boys, Jasper and Finn. Towheads tumbling in the truck's bed, giggling as Alex taught gear shifts. Daddy Ron's the fix-it wizard. They'd crow. Ronnie's lap thrown at family barbecues. Ronnie found his harbor too. Elena, the widow, her laugh a balm to old wounds. They built that Sandhills cabin. Weekends escaping to pine whispers and fly rods. Elena's garden yielding tomatoes red as redemption. No grand gestures, just steady, hands clasped on porch swings, watching sunsets bleed purple. You gave me family twice over, Ronnie told Alex one dusk. Beers clinking. Blood and chosen. Margaret passed gentle in her sleep. 82. Bible and Jack's notes clutched. Her funeral packed the church. Eulogies weaving her quiet courage, standing by her boys when lightning struck. Alex spoke last. Voice steady. Mom mended what storms tore. Like Dad's truck. Rusted, but road-ready. The truck endured. Restored thrice over. A relic at car shows where crowds marveled at hidden mods. Jack's smuggler nooks now holding family photos. Notes laminated for posterity. Edward surfaced once more. A decade on A Letter from Federal Pen. Postmarked Chicago halfway house. Out in 2. Clean. Sober. Saw your shop online. Proud. Alex. If forgiveness is a road, point me. Alex shared it with Ronnie. Caleb. Consensus. Reply kind, but closed. Wounds heal. Drive your own way. A. Climax's embers glowed in small fires. Jasper's coming out at 16. Tearful but embraced. Truck keys gifted as right. Storms just rain. Kid, Alex said, echoing Jack. Finn's tinkering genius. Apprenticing under uncles. Wrench a wand. One Labor Day. The family converged at the cabin. Elena grilling ribs. Caleb strumming guitar. Boys chasing fireflies. Ronnie pulled Alex aside. Locket glinting on his chest. Jack's heirloom, passed brother to brother. Found this in the dash last tune. Dad's last words. He handed a final note, paper crisp as unearthed bone. Alex and Ronnie, if you're reading, I've made peace. Blood don't define, love does. You two, my legacy on wheels. Fix the world, one heart at a time. Clear skies ahead. Jack. Tears came free, embraces tight. Under stars vast as grace, they toasted, to storms weathered, roads mended. Epilogue whispered in golden years. Alex grayed at temples, Caleb's hand eternal in his. Ronnie and Elena adopted a stray mutt, named Jack. The truck rusted graceful in the garage. Tours for school kids on Midwest myths. Love's hidden messages. Humanity's close. Not perfection, but persistence. Betrayal's blade dulled to lessen. Romance's flame, tended multi-hued. In America's heartland, where thunder rolls eternal, two brothers drove on. Shocking futures not predicted, but paved, 1 mile of mercy at a time.